Welcome to my show. I'm a guest here. Her name is Rachel Garrett. Mrs. Rachel, how are you doing, ma?
I'm doing okay. It's super cold where I am. I'm not sure about you, but it's a balmy 3 degrees.
It's really hot here. Really, really hot
I
here. The sun is really
wish
shining. It's killing me,
I'm,
honestly.
I'm freezing to death.
Two different, two different situation, but we thank God where we are. So,
Absolutely.
yes. Firstly, Mrs. Rachel, you are a podcast host. You also host a podcast show, and you are also a spiritual healer. Can you please, my Mrs. Rachel, discuss more about yourself and how you are doing currently now, Mrs. Rachel?
Sure, absolutely. So, my name is Rachel. I'm a registered nurse. I'm also a spiritual healer. I work primarily with the Akashic Records and energy healing. And I also host a show called the Spiritual Spotlight Series, where I get to interview just like you, people all over the world and kind of see like what's going on spiritually and what's working, what's not working. And that's what I love about it. And I love that I bring in my medical knowledge along with my spiritual knowledge. So I'm able to interview guests. And also, I have private clients that I do healings on.
Yes, that's one of the most tremendous things we could have. Connecting with people around the world is really, really massive. Thank you so much, Mrs. Rachel. And I also want like to dive on books, Rachel. If you've written any book or you're possibly planning to write any book in the coming future, Rachel, do you have any book or are you planning to write any coming book in the coming future, Mrs. Rachel?
I don't have a current book. I am planning on writing books.
Okay.
I kind of want to, I don't necessarily want it to be a spiritual how-to. I'm looking more for possibly writing a young adult series that would blend in spiritual knowledge to kind of help our younger audience that's maybe looking for more of a purpose or more of a connection to the unseen to help them understand it, but have some flair and fun.
Exactly. We are one of them. We are one of the young people who need stuff like that. Thank you so much, Mrs. Rachel. I would like to just dive to the point of self-healing.
Yes.
Self-healing is one of the most important things we can have. There are a lot of things that cause a lot of wound, a lot of trauma in our life today. And self-healing is one of the best things someone can have. In a spiritual perspective, Mrs. Rachel, what do you think self-healing mean from a spiritual perspective, Rachel?
I feel like self-healing, I think anyone is possible to heal themselves. I think that a lot of people, we look external for things, and a lot of it comes from the power within. And, like mindset, I feel like your mental mindset carries a lot of weight with your healing practices. Like, for example, let's say you have cancer. And yes, I do believe that you should have modern medicine treatment, but I also feel like when you partner that mental mindset of self healing, that I'm going to be connected, I'm going to be healed, I'm not a victim, I'm willing to accept my circumstances. I think when you partner those two things together, anyone can be healed. And it's really like, again, it's going within. It's going within. And I think when we're in trauma situations or we're in situations that are overwhelming, we maybe look to an external force to guide us. When really, if we can just turn inward and listen to divine or the connection or whatever you believe in, you can get so many valuable answers and you can get that healing energy that comes in. So I feel like the biggest thing with self healing is it, like the word says, self healing. And maybe I don't need to go to something to get, this really toxic medication that might further, exacerbate whatever's going on in my life. So I think a lot of it comes down to like your mind is a very powerful tool. And once your mind is connected to source or wherever, and really it's really not your mind, it's really your heart, because everything comes from the heart. Love or above. We always want to say love or above, and then once you do that, it's amazing the miracles that can happen in your life. And so I think for me, self healing is you're doing the healing, you're connecting to self, and you're connecting to whatever source you believe in.
Completely agree. Thank you so much, Mrs. Rachel. And that will also, go to the point of ways that someone can also try his or her best to, suppress this emotion and to just have this healing that he or she is hoping for. So I would like to
Yeah.
know if there are probably some simple, powerful techniques for releasing this suppressed emotion, Rachel.
Yeah. So, absolutely. So, quick, easy things that you can do is really to center yourself, really to ground yourself. You don't need to have a complicated practice, a 17 step, outline of whatever you're doing spiritually. If you just take some nice deep breaths and really just imagining yourself pulling in, like really just pulling yourself in, and then like imagining yourself grounding down to the earth. A lot of times when people are new to the spiritual practice, they want to go up. They want to connect to their guides. They want to connect to angels. They want to be out of the body. In order to really manifest anything, to heal anything, to bring forth any juiciness that life has to offer, you really have to be connected and grounded into earth. And then you shift into this attitude of gratitude, this feeling of unconditional love. So for me, very simply, even if you just go outside, walk barefoot, look down, imagine yourself grounding, then you turn off the noise in the mind, you connect in with the heart, and you're like, okay, what is my next divine aligned action that I need to take? Source, give me a sign, show me something. And honestly, it comes down to trust. So again, like I feel like simple exercises, that's where the magic is. Again, you don't have to overcomplicate things. Taking just nice deep breaths. Let's say you're overwhelmed. Maybe there's something going on. I'm having a difficult conversation with someone. I'm going to disengage. I'm going to take some nice deep breaths in and out. And I might just go outside, touch grass, like touch grass. That's what they say, like touch grass. Every morning I look at the beautiful sunrise. I mean, it's super cold here, but I'm grateful that I have a home. I have a beautiful life. Some days might not be fun, but I'm grateful. And the attitude of gratitude, it brings so much power. Like it's shifting into gratitude, just being grateful. Find 5 things that you're grateful for. I'm grateful for my lungs. I'm grateful that I have the ability to walk. I'm grateful that I have the ability to communicate to you all the way across the world. Like that's an amazing thing that we can do that maybe 10 years ago we couldn't do. Like I'm grateful that we were able to connect today. Like that just fills me with so much beautiful energy. So I think those are really simple, easy practices that you can do to really connect in.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Rachel. Completely agree. There are many things one can use to. That's also that you made me understand that self talk really helps. Just
Yes.
having this sense of nature and even having self positive talk to definitely help one to have this
Yeah.
healing that he or she needs. And I want to know if there are a lot of things that could possibly be preventing or blocking someone when it comes to personal growth. If someone is healing, that is when someone can grow. But if someone is not healing, it might hinder one personal growth. What do you think are some signs one can quickly notice that mental blocks are personally preventing their personal growth, Rachel?
Sure. So I feel like where we get stuck as
Mm.
individuals and what is when we shift into like victim mindset. Oh, woe is me. Why is my life so terrible? Like it's just, when we drop down into that lower energy register where it's, "Oh, why did you do this to me? Honestly, it's like not taking accountability for your life and blaming external circumstances for what's going on. So a lot of people like, I'm not worthy of love. I'm not worthy of this. Like this worthiness. And I feel like that's where people get stuck. Their energy gets blocked. When really, if you can shift out of that energy and go into more of an empowered mindset of, all right, right now this is tough, but I'm going to get through this. We've all gone through very traumatic things in our lives. We've all had traumas done to us. Maybe we've did trauma things to other people, and I truly feel like once you take ownership and responsibility of yourself as a being, then things you can start shifting out of it. Like you mentioned, like affirmations. Like I like to, my work is worthy of massive compensation. Like my work is of high service. Like I feel like I love going back to affirmations. Like I'm wealthy, I'm wise, I'm healthy, and then times I don't know about you, but sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and my mind is racing. Maybe I'm worried about something. I will shift out of that worry. I'll start saying mantras to myself. Like, I'm going to be okay. I'm going to be okay. Like, do you know what I mean? And it breaks that negative mindset, and it really helps me shift into, again, taking responsibility for my life, taking responsibility for my actions, and then that's where all the magic and beauty happens. Like, again, victim mindset is such a disadvantage. Maybe they're scared, maybe they're fearful, maybe their parents treated them a certain type of way. And trust me, it happens and things get beat down into us. But as soon as we take responsibility, like, this is my life, like nothing else matters except for what I'm doing in my life. And I need to model my right behavior. Do you know what I mean? And it's
Mm.
like with my son, like he's younger, but ultimately my responsibility is let him find his way, model right behavior, protect him, keep him safe. But ultimately he's on his own path and he's going to have his own journey. So I want to give him the tools that he needs, but ultimately, again, it's only my responsibility to model right behavior, and then he's going to be on his own path, and he's going to choose whether or not he wants to be a victim or he wants to be an empowered person. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, and that also make me understand. Some people feel like they could change someone, stuff like that. Someone has to just take his or her responsibility. That's what really, really matters. And I also remember when you said that one one can just wake up at the midnight. Sometimes it's just at times I used to have that situation. Honestly speaking, Mrs. Rachel, it's not always good. Honestly speaking, when I just that has to just be pounding, pound. I don't know what actually happened. I will just play slow music. That's
Oh,
what
I
I
love
just
it.
normally do, a cool music that will just make me sleep. I'll just try my best to just listen to that cool music till I just sleep off because sometimes it just be really heavy. I don't know even know what usually happen during that time, but I will just used to try my best. So I completely agree with you. So
Yeah.
self responsibility is really, really important. Just take the responsibility and know how
Yeah.
one can build his or herself. Thank you so much, Mrs. Rachel. And I would
Go
like to
ahead.
dive to the point of book or I say book food or natural remedies. I do not know
Yeah.
if there are also food that also improve one when it
Yeah.
comes to this self healing. What food or natural remedies do you think you support from self healing from a holistic perspective,
Sure.
Mrs. Rachel?
Absolutely. So essential oils, I have some over here. I love crystals. Like, I mean, I know that it's like crystals are like my jam. Like, this is shungite. It's good for EMF protection. When a lot of energy is coming through, like for example, we have a lot of energy that's coming through us. This helps block the EMF rays. Like something like a physical tool that you can hold. This is amethyst that you can hold and you can feel that healing vibration with. I do agree with you that being a clear channel and like maybe having filtered water or fruits, vegetables, higher vibrational food. I think it is hard though sometimes, and I don't want to shame anyone for if they can't get these things. You can always do a blessing on it, like God, angels, universe, please bless this food so that way it's aligned for my best and highest good. Like, bring in the energetic component of blessing your food, trying to drink enough water. But listen, your girl loves iced coffee. So, I mean, I'm not like you have to do what works for you. So if there's things that, maybe you need a day of junk food. That's okay. Be gentle on yourself. Like, you need a day of, and I will say, like, as I'm getting older, I do value the importance of eating fresh fruits and vegetables, eating, things from cleaner soil, because I'm in the States and there's a lot of talk about how our food is poison. So, like, you know I try my best to get what I
Mm.
can get, but it's also based upon my economic status and what am I able to afford, So again, I'm going to bring in source energy. I'm going to bless it, so that way it does kind of, because I'm an energy healer first and foremost. I like to bring up that vibration. So
Mm.
again, essential oils, maybe you switch to using non-toxic candles. I love Palo Santo for cleansing, sage. I'm a big crystal gal, so like this is a golden healer quartz. Like, I
Wow.
love crystals. I'm a certified crystal healer. I love crystals. Um, Really anything that lights you up. Like over here, I have a dream catcher. I have an angel. Like, I have angels. Anything that sparks your curiosity and you're like, I feel connected to this. Maybe that's a tool you want to use. Like, sound healing's really good. Frequency healing's good. essential oils are great, but doesn't mean you have to go buy every single thing. Just what sparks your excitement and your joy. And maybe it's just painting. Maybe you want to connect with source, and maybe you want to paint, maybe you want to play music. That's okay. As long as it's bringing up your vibration and it's opening yourself up to being a better channel to love and light, it's going to be amazing what you pull through. Do you know what I mean? That's going to be what I say to you all day. Do you know what I mean?
I definitely understand what you are saying, Mrs. Rachel. Honestly speaking, it's just something that definitely work for the person, something that one
Yeah,
can just connect with. It could be frequency, it could be music, anything that one can just feel this energy is really,
absolutely.
really important. And some people would like to know too if they feel like they are truly healing from this thing, probably anything that connected to, or the step that you've probably said that could help
Mhm.
them, so they could want to probably feel or think, how will I even know if I'm truly healing? Or
Yeah.
how can I know probably if this thing is just suppressing? There's a difference between suppressing and something that is definitely
Yeah.
healing. So how do you think someone can know if they are truly healing or probably just suppressing their pain, Mrs. Rachel?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's almost like, how do you know that you're just not putting a band-aid on the situation? Is it going to come back? And I guess how you'll know is if that pattern starts to repeat itself. So if it comes back to, let's say, for example, let me try to think of like, hmm, maybe I'm having a pain in my stomach, and maybe it's because I'm refusing to swallow down some information that has happened in my past. Well, first, you're going to want to feel into that body system. Remember, your body keeps the score. So, all of your traumas, all of your things that have happened, it's embedded into your cellular tissue. So, you have to work on there's a lot of different aspects you have to work on to release that energy that's blocked or stuck or whatever. It's emotional, it's physical, it's spiritual, it's all of these different steps. So I'm going to feel into it. Is that what's going on here? Okay, what's this? Well, did I eat something that upset my stomach? Am I swallowing something that I don't want to speak about? You want to allow that to come up and then really like observe it. Be a gentle observer of whatever's going on. I have a headache. Why do I have a headache? Maybe I hit my head. I don't know. Like, but there's maybe a component to like I'm gonna go back to the stomach. Maybe there's a component that I'm swallowing something that is bothering me. So look at the emotional component. Did I have an argument with my partner earlier? And then I'm like, okay, take responsibility of that, gentle observer, allow it to be released. I think the best way to know if you have healed from something, I want to say two things. One, I don't think healing's ever done. I think we're always going to go down deeper and deeper and deeper layers. So healing work is always going to be a constant thing. So it's going to be, how can I manage myself in the day-to-day life? You know what I mean? Like, am I feeling good? Do I have a positive perspective? Or am I in my victim mindset? Or am I in the negative mindset of, oh, woe is me? If I'm positive, if I'm happy, I'm jamming out life. And then I think my healing process, I'm good. Do you know what I mean? I'm moving forward. Like fear, false expectations appearing real. A lot of healing happens when you can push past that uncomfortable feeling. Then that's when the true healing begins. There's nothing wrong with feeling uncomfortable. A lot of people, we want comfort. We want to be okay. You have to push past that uncomfortable feeling of, okay, maybe I had some shame in this moment. Maybe I was really emotionally abused in this moment. Allow it to come up, be a gentle observer, and allow it to go. Allow it to transmute. And then, because you got to fill it up with something else, because then, like you said, it's going to repeat. You want that, bring in that energy, that connection to source, God, whatever you believe in, fill me up with that love. Fill me up with that love, that essence. And then again, if it comes up again, that feeling, it won't be as anymore. It will be more, you'll be able to deal with it. Do you know what I mean? It won't be such a big trigger anymore in your life. Like when you look back on your life, and I'm sure you've done this, you may have had a moment where, like I'm somebody, I don't like to feel like I'm stupid. Okay. When I was younger, I'll be like, how dare you? But now I'm like, all right, It's okay. I got this. Do you know what I mean? So it's like you learn how to deal with these uncomfortable triggers, and then it's not as bad. And the healing goes quicker. It's not taking you 16 years to get over the fact that somebody called you stupid when you were 4. Now it's okay. I wish you on your journey. Have fun.
Yes. Mrs. Rachel, what you said currently now is very, very powerful. Healing cannot, like, it cannot just, one cannot just heal completely. It is not possible.
Yeah.
It's just like a layer. Like, one can just have to try his or her best to see the situation. Okay, this situation has happened, accept, oh my god, it's really, really powerful. Open, because it's not easy. What you are saying, because it's not easy, it will continue to come back to one mind, like bang
Yeah.
bang bang. But someone has to just continue to accept it, that energy, 1 hour, whether it's Jesus or stuff, just continue to use it to back it up. And when someone healed, the most funniest part of that situation is that when someone has built from that perspective, if someone fall into such situation again, it will not really look like that all that time. So one has
Yeah.
become more stronger in that area. It's really, really powerful. I want to sincerely
Yeah.
thank you for that, Mrs. Rachel. Thank you so much, man.
Thank
And
you.
I'll also, lastly, Mrs. Rachel, there's a
Sure.
question I normally ask Mrs. Rachel during the end of the show. So, from our answer, from our forefathers, from our fathers who have fast passed on during the historic time, there are a lot of things that do exist during that our forefather time. A lot of things during that time, but they are missing. Many of it are missing in our time today. If there is anyone or probably anything you would like to bring back to our time today, what do you think that thing will be, Mrs. Rachel?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So maybe I'm not sure if this is the appropriate answer,
Right.
but I feel like from when we had COVID and we were in lockdown and we were very isolated from other people. It was a very interesting, scary time to be in where we were seeing people dying, we were seeing isolation, we were seeing like a lot of loneliness. And I feel like society as a whole still hasn't bounced back from that moment of time. So what I feel like is missing, and I think maybe the forefathers they had a good handle on, was a sense of community, was a sense of connection, was a sense of you're never alone. And I feel like as a society, we still are isolating ourselves for fear of maybe being judged, or maybe because I'm different, or maybe because I'm afraid of whatever it is. It's like this sense of we have this need of connection, but yet we don't go out of our boxes, out of our bubbles to reconnect to our communities. And I think that to me is a big loss to society, to see, like, even within the spiritual community, like we recently, one of my dear friends, she owned a crystal shop, and like she was a big connector of a lot of spiritual people. Well, unfortunately, she passed away in December, and it's like we don't know what to do now. It's like where as a community are we supposed to meet up, because she held that glue. So I feel like there's a loss of, there's a call for certain people like yourself to stand up like as a leader and to hold space for others to come together. Like having your conversations and your interviews and bridging that gap and bringing other knowledge based providers that can kind of help bring in that love. And it comes down to, again, it's like love and community and connection. So I think, if anything, what I think is lost right now, that a society as a whole needs, is that reconnection of self and that reconnection of community, and really being like not afraid to express your truth. Like me not being afraid to be like, you know what, guys, I talk to angels, and not, don't be afraid to say that, but to know that I would be accepted into your community and be okay and not be targeted. So I think, again, and I'm repeating myself, community. I think community and feeling like you belong somewhere, feeling like you belong to a tribe, a group, something, feeling that connection. I think that's what's missing right now, that I would love to see come back.
Completely agree. Community has really, even in my place here, I can completely tell you that it is really, really missing. A lot of things.
Yes.
Everybody are just isolated, honestly speaking. even to even for me to even try my best to even bring the community is always difficult. Everybody will just go their way, you know, everybody want to be alone. So it's
Yeah.
definitely thing that we hope it comes back in the coming future. I want to
Yeah.
sincerely thank you, Mrs. Rachel. We have a great conversation. Thank you for your time and the
Thank
opportunity
you.
you've given to the audience and also myself. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much. I truly appreciate it.
All right, so have a wonderful day, Mrs. Rachel. Bye bye.
You too.